What may make an aeroplane deemed not economic to run is perhaps if the requirement for bringing it to service outweighs the return on investment. However, it is a fact that with Boeing, they have indicated the lifespan of their aircrafts, particularly the Boeing 737s and the Boeing 767s, which aircraft we own as Air Zimbabwe. They have said their technical life is 75,000 cycles. A cycle is a takeoff and a landing. So, but they have also mentioned what is called design service objective life, which is the economic life of their aircrafts. So economic life, they are saying it's 20 years. They call it design service objective life. But the technical life, which is given by the limit of validity, is 75,000 cycles. So if you look at Air Zimbabwe aircrafts, both the 737 and the 767, technically they are still sound because we have not even done more than half of that 75,000 cycles. But in terms of that design service objective life, which is sitting at 20 years, is telling us a story that as we focus on the turnaround of our institution, we therefore must also focus on ensuring that we have aircrafts that are within the economic benefit envelope. Now, there was the issue of an impounded aircraft in London. History has it that in 2010, an Air Zimbabwe aircraft was impounded in London because we owed a US supplier something in the region of, I think, 1.2, 1.4 million, which government paid. And that aircraft is one of the 2 767s that we have, Zulu Whiskey Papa Echo and Zulu Whiskey Papa Foxtrot. Those aircrafts are actually at Air Zimbabwe. And as we speak, we did bring one of them back to service, Zulu Whiskey Papa Foxtrot, after it had last flown in 2020. So it's now up and running, and we are now focusing on bringing the second one, which is Zulu Whiskey Papa Echo. Now, the issue of writing off the assets of the books. For the MA60s, because they are not Air Zimbabwe assets, they are not in our books, we cannot write them off as Air Zimbabwe. Then the issue around the pigs, I will go to the South African aircraft last. The pigs. Now, this happened at takeoff at Harare International Airport. Perhaps some of us could have been there at that time, but this is based on a true story. That in Air Zimbabwe aircraft, Zulu Whiskey Papa Juliet was involved in an accident at Harare International Airport. It was around 17:30, 1800 hours, almost getting dark, and there were the damage happened. There were no fatalities. There was only one minor injury incurred by one of our flight attendants, and beyond that, the aircraft was deemed by our insurance as beyond economic repair, and this is based on a true story. Last is the storage charges accruing on the aircraft in South Africa. We have tried to follow up on this chair. You told me one key thing which is still reverberating in my mind, that I cannot say because we were not there, then we don't have the answers. But on this one, because we were not there, according to the auditor's report in 2019, there was the issue around, I think around 364,000 in accruing in terms of parking charges. But we have also then made to understand that as the team then made another follow-up on the not necessarily authenticity, but in order to ascertain from South African Airways whether they are still insisting on this issue about accrual of parking charges. We were then told that they seemed to have rescinded that decision based on the relationships between the two republics, and of course we are sister national airlines. So we will need again to re-verify on this one, but as we are made to understand, we are made to understand that for now that is not an issue. The issue would be that we would be asking the Public Accounts Committee through the chair, perhaps that in the next mid-term budget review, that Air Zimbabwe is favored with some monies to pay for this aircraft so that it can fly back. South African Airways have capacity to do maintenance on that aircraft. Air Zimbabwe does not have in-house capability. But I also want to assure this House that the Airbus A320 is much sought after on the market. It's also the right aircraft for Air Zimbabwe. I so submit, Chair. Sorry, I think there was another issue on the knocking off.
Hand over, take over.
Yeah, on the handover.
Maybe before, how much is required? The one that you are asking us to help you.
About 12 million only, Chair.
12 million.
USD.
Okay.
Only. How much do
We can do.
Through the chair, we can submit to a sub-chair and team that a business plan around this aircraft. That we believe that it makes business sense to have it in our midst in terms of our fleet.
So this 12 million is just for the maintenance?
Yeah, to bring it back to airworthiness. And again, it's coming out because it took so long with this aircraft on the ground, and every time you don't maintain an aircraft, then it's also, everything is either based on time, or based on flying hours, or based on takeoffs and landings, which are called cycles.
Yeah, I think no wonder why they are not even charging you parking fee, because once they know that whenever you are going to collect it, they are the ones that are going to service it, and the funds that are involved are huge. Also, we're wondering why they are not even pursuing a parking fee. And how much is it to buy a new?
Yeah, that's what
roughly.
that type of plane.
That type one, at the same time. A second hand also.
Second hand, we're looking at about 52 million.
And the new one?
New could be around 90.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I just want clarity here. I know we have another question on the same aircraft. But my question, which has not been answered, is to do with ownership. Because here you say it's yet to be confirmed. So who actually owns these two planes? Who owns them?
And yeah, it's a good question. They are even asking the government of Zimbabwe to give you money over an aircraft that you don't even know. What if we motivate the minister to give you money, and later on you tell us the aircraft belongs to Mr. Jones?
I think there are two issues to this without avoiding your good questions. Is that as it came out of the 2019 audit, the key issue there was the issue of recognition of the asset that would or had potential to bring revenue to us. I say this because I looked at Air Zimbabwe around its performance around 2015 when they launched the Harare Dar es Salaam route using the Airbus. It was full. The fares were so economic, and there was a positive return on investment specific to operation of that aircraft. And this is why I'm saying, even as we speak now, we still have access to the use of that asset, which even time immemorial from 2013 was an asset that still is within our reach. Then the issues around who owns the assets, I think it's something that we can continue to pursue as an airline with the further engagements with the shareholder. But we do not have such information for now.
So why are you asking us to motivate the minister to give you money?
As it was in the beginning, that we were using this asset and we did not have challenges. It's the same with the MA60s that are not in our books, but we have access to, and we continue to derive benefit from them.
Mr. didn't get us.
Follow the chairman.
That's why I asked the question.
The other aircraft are clearly known. Okay. The other aircraft are clearly known. MA60s, they are owned by the government of Zimbabwe. The BAE 146 Jongwe, owned by the Air Force of Zimbabwe. These two, you don't show who owns them. So there's a real mystery, and here we have the representative of the shareholder, the vice chairman of the board. Can we ask her to shed some light as to who actually owns these two planes? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honourable members, for your very critical questions to the airline. Yes, it's a very difficult question to respond to. We are the first board that is coming since the reconstruction of Air Zimbabwe, and there is a very well-detailed business plan for the airline. And indeed, as you have noted from our auditors' opinions, we have a red flag on those two Airbuses. And as the CEO indicated, we are still engaging our two shareholders, the Ministry of Transport as well as the Mutapa Fund, for finalization. And indeed, we have written to them so that we can get closure regarding the same aircraft. I think that is basically what we are grappling with as a board at the moment. I want to believe by the financial year ending 2024, we will have answers to this mystery. Thank you.
I think there's something that you are not telling us. I must remind you that you are under oath, and you need to take your oath seriously. Because I don't think that a whole board and the management, you can have two aircrafts that you don't even know who is on, right? Because there appears to be a problem with your procurement process. Maybe you need to shed light on how do you procure aircraft at Zimbabwe, because there's a trend where aircraft are procured, then immediately after some few years they are discarded, just parked like that, and there's no evidence that we are getting value of money, the money that you even used to purchase those aircraft, because all these aircraft that are counted, it means that the country is losing money. You know, we bought the aircraft, they are not working. You even have aircraft that you don't even know who is the owner. So anyone can come and claim them. This is an aircraft. It's not like an aqua vehicle that you might just say someone parked it here. Please, we need you guys to take this inquiry seriously. if there is something that you know which you can't reveal here, then you need to say so, because your explanation. That's why you see everyone is now confused and maybe probably agitated, because it looks like it's we are not taking the committee seriously. Thank you.
Maybe in addition.
Thank you so much, Chairman.
Let's start with it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. And maybe in addition, when you apply for landing rights in other airports, is that not part of the information that they require? Suppose you apply for landing rights in South Africa, UK. Is that not part of the information that they require for you to supply the ownership package of that particular aircraft? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My question really is on the continuation of Zimbabwe at this point. I wanted to understand that in terms of the turnaround strategy that the Vice Chair has mentioned, how much did you bring on board from the old Zimbabwe and the Zimbabwe Airlines in terms of knowledge and resource? Because it seems there's a serious disconnect, and you do not want to associate with the history of Zimbabwe, and yet you want the company to continue. Do you think that Zimbabwe must continue as a project that is being revamped, or it must actually start afresh on a new platform? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairman. I think from the beginning I asked a very simple question. As the CEO, when you get into office, he is the father of that organization. When you get into office, within a week you should know how much are we getting from accounts, how much are we doing from engineering. It's very simple. I ask the question, Chairman, could they do any overtake over? Within a week on your CEO, you'll be able to tell engineering there's a problem, in finance there's a problem. When you go to the office, you should tell us what balance did you get from the office. You should be able to tell us as the finance person. Not just say, I changed my signature. How much without knowing how much was the balance which you have brought when you start the office. Thank you so much.
Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. Now, Panapa is not Yeruti. So, if we move on to Shansan de Keramigo, singers, is it possible his mother wants to send the care? Maybe the career to be like. Then you can approach Jim Singers, which in Diani, no, it's why. Even Commodore and Diani, we are same as Siam, most of them, Kumakore, Sama Karamina, is now game up on the Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. My question on Zulu Papa Kilo has not been answered in terms of the cost analysis. What's stopping you from doing the cost analysis since 2016? And secondly, you indicated that you wrote a letter to the Ministry of Finance. May you please tell this committee when did you write that letter to the ministry? Thank you.
Yeah, then you can now respond. You also didn't respond to my question on. Remember, I asked about those two aircrafts that Mr. Zimbabwe wanted to run a new, I think it was a new company, a new, what was it called? Zimbabwe Airways. Where are those aircrafts, and where were they purchased, who bought them, and what is the current status? Since you appear to have a problem of remembering ownership and site-related matters. Thank you.
Chair, thank you very much. Before I give the CEO to respond to the much finer technical details, I just want to educate or inform the House that when Zimbabwe was placed under administration, it was because of some of these challenges that are on this table today. And part of the turnaround plan was to deal with these issues and of course to ring fence the debt, and that was done. There was a debt of about 350 million that was taken into account, and
350 million US dollars.
yes, and government ring fenced that, and attempts were made, and some creditors came forward, and this was done. The administrator, which was Grant Thornton, also recommended to government some very critical areas or factors that would assist in turning around the airline. Of course, the success factors did not go backwards, but they were forward-looking in terms of our route networks, our equipment that would take Air Zimbabwe forward. And we saw also that the administrator abandoned all the legacy issues that are on this table today. And today we're talking about an Air Zimbabwe private limited company that is trying to take off on a very clean note. Of course, we have these legacy issues that are bedeviling us, but we want to believe we are now in the right trajectory, and these are just a few of the issues that are bedeviling our takeoff. So the data assumption was done, and the restructure balance sheet was also put forward to government. A strategic plan was put forward, which I think ends in 2024, where government was recommended or committed to provide some investment that is critical for Air Zimbabwe to take off. And part of that plan on equipment, of course, does not include the Airbuses that we are talking about, but we have to acquire the most modern fleet of equipment in order for Air Zimbabwe to take off. We also have issues of restructuring and governance. It was difficult for Mr. Makona to really say when the administrator went off, there were also a lot of employees that we lost along the way with the administration. So as we are trying to restructure, we are calling back those employees to ensure that we have a smooth takeoff. So we are dealing with the governance, compliance, people and culture issues, the equipment. On the finances, like I said, the administrator tried to hand over a clean balance sheet so that we can start business of the airline. We are also still in the process of re-engaging with our strategic partners and alliances to ensure that we are back on the global map. So that is what we are now battling with. And apart from the legacy issues, we are also saying we have a lot of equipment that is obsolete, that we are trying to dispose under the procurement regulations. And as a board, that is the first board after reconstruction, we are really pleased that we will be inviting the Public Accounts Committee at its liberty to just come and appreciate where Zimbabwe has come from with all that history that we know, and some that we don't know, so that you can also walk the talk with us and understand some of the complexities that we are trying to grapple with today. Mr. Makona, you can respond to the issue of the Zulu Papa Kilo cost analysis and the other issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Vice Chair. And Chair.
Yeah, okay, sorry man, I was just consulting on the invitation. Because before you invited us, we really must then also come there and see, because so that's one of the ground. So we are very clear on it. Where's your other board members? Because with these problems, we expected you to bring everyone so that we can get answers. But then they just send you alone. Why?
I think, Chair, the issue was we didn't know that it was going to be hotter than July.
Don't get it
But it really makes sense. I think allow me to digress a bit, Chair. I've been in aviation for 40 years. I'm former president of the African Airlines. As I speak, I stand for the African Civil Aviation Commission as an ambassador on the AU for Southern Africa on aviation issues. And then I'm looking at Air Zimbabwe, and I'm saying it will be well with ASIM. Otherwise, I would not even have taken this challenge. So I'm trying to answer the question, can tribunals arise? They will. I say this, Chair, and because there's a silent voice somewhere, that we had even challenges on salaries. Now we are okay. We are even going on revenue generation initiatives. We are even working on the Nigerian aircraft, which is going to bring us money. If you were coming this week, you would see that Boeing 737. We are getting another one as part of the ancillary revenue focus. I say this because IATA have said this, and you can Google it, that 2024 airlines, global airlines are going to make a profit of 2.7%, even to carry 4.7 billion people, and the net profit 25.7. But if you dissect that, it's $5.45 profit per passenger per seat. Some of us are going to KFC, streetwise too. So how are airlines going to survive? It's focusing on ancillary revenue generation.